Oh,
He's talking.
now we lost Lanny.
He's right here. He was sitting in the audience.
He's so short we couldn't see him. That's even better.
All right, welcome to tonight's work session. This is about the Kingsland TAD District and District 1. We'll turn it over to James Coughlin, and we'll get started. You're not on yet. You got to. There you go.
All right, are we on now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for having me. I'm James Coughlin with the Joint Development Authority. I'm here with Ken Bleakley from the Bleakley Advisory Group, and we're going to talk to you about the City of Kingsland's proposal to amend their TAD number 1 and ask for the county's concurrence with that TAD. Just as a little bit of background, back in 2012, the City of Kingsland actually created this TAD. This was the first one in the county. It was their TAD number 1, Exit 3 Commercial and Entertainment District. But back in 2012, when they did that, they never came to y'all and asked for the county to participate or the school board to participate. So in that sense, the TAD was not fully baked. It wasn't really ready to go out and actually attract a project. Now they've got a viable project. They're making some amendments to the boundaries of the TAD, which Ken will discuss with you in just a minute. And it's time now to go ahead and get the county and the school board on board with this so we can go ahead and kick this off. So I'm going to ask Ken to talk to you a little bit about the proposed amendments to the TAD, and we'll come back for any questions.
Great. Thank you, James. Commissioners, it's good to be with you this evening. I'm just going to kind of walk through this presentation and try to highlight some of the key points. If you have any questions, or please go ahead and ask those. Can we go to the next slide? Can we go to the next slide? Okay, if you look at this is on slide 3, if you look at the map, as James had mentioned, originally we had TAD number 1 was proposed in 2012, and it was basically the properties that you see on the western side of I-95 being that diagonal running through the center of the map. And tonight we're proposing to modify the boundaries of the TAD primarily by adding in 3 properties to the east side of I-95, and that will expand the TAD to include a total of 8 parcels and about 743 acres of land. It has a taxable value today of just under $1.7 million. And one of the key things we had to determine for the state to make this eligible is the City of Kingsland, when they create tax allocation districts, they can have as many as they want, but they can't have more than 10% of their digest in all TADs. And based on the current value of this TAD, it would represent less than 0.2%. So there's still additional room, and it obviously meets that first test. Can you go to the next slide, please? Oop. There we go. As James mentioned, the motivation to make this amendment to the TAD and bring it up to date is we have proposals for 2 major developments, one on the west side and one on the east side of I-95. On the west side, basically, it's what's called the Georgia-Florida Sports Park, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. And that's basically a mixed-use development which would have as its centerpiece a major amateur sports park, which would have ball fields and activity centers and lots of development related around amateur sports. So teams would not only come from the immediate area, but probably from all over Georgia and North Florida to come play at this facility. And it's a fairly unique facility. There are a number of these around the country, but they have a big regional draw because amateur sports, amateur athletics right now, whether it's lacrosse, soccer, softball, baseball, all the team sports that your kids are playing, all have these leagues, and they go in summer leagues and leagues around the season, and these are the facilities they typically play at those facilities. In addition to the sports facilities, they have also proposed residential development, a major RV park, a water park, some additional commercial development, and some hotel development on the west side. And then on the east side, we have what's called the Georgia Gateway Mixed-Use Project, and that would be a major mixed-use development, really more oriented to Exit 1 off I-95, and it would contain over 500,000 square feet of retail, some residential development, apartments, other development included in that, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. Next slide. If you look at this chart, it kind of breaks out. In the blue is what would be on the west side of the road, and the sports park components are at the bottom. You have 12 multi-use soccer fields, you have 10 baseball diamonds, and then you have a special baseball diamond for kind of the playoff opportunities. There's a 120,000 square foot indoor facility for indoor basketball and volleyball and other activities, and then you have some additional support facilities related to that. And then on the north part of that is the mixed-use components of that, which would include residential, the RV park I talked about, the water park I talked about, additional hotel development. So it would be a major mixed-use component in addition to the sports park. In the green column, that's basically what would go on the east side of the road, and you can see the breakout of those activities. Together, we're talking about over 600,000 square feet of retail space, about 1,300 apartments, a major RV park, 528 single-family townhome and duplex units, 6 hotels, and a restaurant and a travel plaza. Now, that's a lot of development. It's almost 4 million square feet of development. The developers on both projects together estimate it will take about 11 years to build out all those components. So it's not going to all happen immediately, but it would happen over the next 11-year period. Next slide, please. If you look at the breakout here and financially, most of the development, you can see on the west side, it's about equally balanced between the west side and the east side. There's about $400 million of proposed development on the west side and about $380 million on the east side. If you look at it in terms of phases, phase 1 is the biggest phase with almost $400 million of development, which would occur during the first 3 years, and then you have phase 2 in the next 3 years, phase 3 the next 3 years, and then the final phase in years 10 and 11. So you get a big hit in those early 3 years, and then you have steady additional development over the time period. So again, this development will occur over an 11-year period, not in a year or two. If you look at it from the city of Kingland's point of view, this will add 43% to the city's current digest. So this is a huge economic impact, obviously for Kingsland, but also for the county as well. And as I mentioned, really phase 1 is the major phase. If you look at the current tax value of the parcels, it's a little bit less than 1.7 million. When this is completed, it'll represent a 190-fold increase in the tax base inside the tax allocation district. So by any metric that we look at around the state, this is a major project that'll have a major impact on the local community. Next slide, please. If we look at it from Camden County's perspective, as we mentioned, the current value of the site is, all the 8 parcels is about 1.7 million, and we estimate at the end of the 15th year, it will increase the assessed value to about $342 million. So it's going to be a dramatic change in those. The other key thing that we have to look at from the state's perspective is the digest, and if you look at your digest, it basically would represent if you take the current value, the 1.7 million, against your digest of over 2 billion, this only is going to change value on 1/10 of 1% of the land that's currently in the county. So it's taking a relatively small part of your digest, current digest, and that's where the change is occurring. Next slide, please. One of the key benefits that's going to accrue to the county is the impact that this project will have on sales tax. The TAD is set up so that the property taxes are what's committed over the TAD period to help finance and support the infrastructure that allows this development to occur. But any sales taxes that are collected will continue to flow to the county and municipalities according to your current local policies. So we looked at the loss and SPLOST impacts, and you can see that by year 5, we estimate the retail, the hotels, the other retail expenditures, the restaurants on the site will be generating about $2 million in lost and SPLOST money for the county. That'll increase to about $4 million by the 10th year, and then sort of level out at around between $4 and $5 million a year over the 25-year period. So in 25 years, we estimate that the lost and SPLOST revenue to the county will be over $91 million that will occur during the TAD period. Next slide, please. So if you look at it sort of collectively, what are the economic impacts that are going to flow to the county? Well, we estimate during the next 25 years, those will total over $91.9 million. And they really have two key components. One is you'll continue to collect the property tax that you are collecting on that $1.7 million of existing value. That's about $23,000 a year. That'll represent $550,000 over 25 years, and then you'll get the benefit of the lost and SPLOST taxes, which is another 91.4. So if you add those together, over 25 years, the county is going to get 91.9 million, just short of $92 million from your participation in the TAD, assuming two things: all this development occurs in the 11 years, and second of all, you decide to maintain the SPLOST and the lost revenue. Next slide. This really, sorry, this is very small, it's hard to read, but this is basically our forecast of what the property tax increments will be from the project over 25 years, and that's really a key element in us being able to forecast. One of the things the state requires us to do is forecast the potential bonding capacity that the district would have. And so if we go to the next slide, you can see, if you look at the bottom on the gray number, what this basically tells us is that based on those property taxes that we think will be generated by the new development, the project will be able to support a TAD bond of about $45 million by the 5th year, and that will produce proceeds or money that could be reinvested back in the project of a little over $31 million, almost $32 million. By the 10th year, we could do a second financing, which could total up to $73 million, and by the 15th year, you could do a third financing, and the maximum amount of TAD revenue that would be generated would be around $85 million. The reason you have the multiple years is you can't go out and borrow the money today for anything past a couple years out. Basically, the way the market works is they believe you and they hope that it happens, but they want to see it closer to reality. And so you're limited to doing it in tranches rather than just having one big financing at the beginning. That's been the model that we've seen other communities. The other option is this is if you went with the tax exempt bond approach, but under the law, the city has three alternatives. They can do what's called pay as you go, where effectively you rebate the increment back each year to the developer, and there is no bond financing. Or you can do this bond approach. And then the third is you can have a bank or a financial institution basically finance it like they would do a bond. They basically come in and say, we'll give you a loan based upon these incremental taxes. So the city has not determined yet which of the three approaches they're going to take, but we always show this. This is one of the requirements the state has, that you always show what the bonding capacity would be, so we've included that. Next slide. How would the money be spent? Currently, we're talking about potentially it going into two uses, that if we generated, say, that maximum amount of dollars, about $15 million would go into infrastructure improvements both on the west side and east side of the TAD, so that that development can occur, sewer, traffic, other improvements will go on. And as you probably recall, the county has already committed $10 million from your Tier 2 SPLOST to the project for those infrastructure improvements on the west side. And then the biggest chunk of dollars would go to actually build the sports facilities themselves. So we have $63.5 million going into the cost of the construction of those facilities. Those two elements would be about a $79 million of TAD proceeds once the entire project is completed. So that's the current intended use of how TAD funds would be applied if they were generated. Everybody approves the district. Next slide. just in summary, what are the benefits of participating in the TAD from Camden County's perspective? Well, the first is, I think a key point is it only is going to affect development on 0.1% of your current digest. So it's not committing a big part of your current tax digest to this effort. It's a very small percent. Second is that the growth in retail sales this will stimulate, we estimate by the 10th year, will be over $220 million of additional retail sales in the county. And that generation of retail sales over time, we think will generate about $91 million in lost and SPOS revenue to the county. In addition, you're going to keep the revenue from the existing valuation, which is about $500,000 over the 25 years. You add those two things together, the county will receive almost $92 million in the next 25 years from the TAD. Then, when the TAD burns off, you'll receive all of the county share of the property tax once that process is completed. Probably one of the last things that we always like to highlight is this will have a huge employment impact here in Kingsland and also the county. We estimate, based on the projections that the developers and their consultants have done, that you will see about 3,200 new permanent jobs created as a result of TAD number 1 over that 11 years. That's about 300 jobs a year, and that will result in a $55 million annual payroll. Just by comparison, it represents a growth of about 73% over the current number of jobs in Kingsland. So you're seeing a huge impact in terms of employment in Kingsland and also very significantly in the county. So with that, I'd be glad to, that's a lot of information, try to answer any questions. Oh, one last slide, I'm sorry. Can you go one more? Where are we in the process? Well, the orange slide, Kingsland City Council did approve the creation of the district on the 12th, and so that has been accomplished. The next step in the process is seeking what's called a concurrence from you at the county, and we're in that process here tonight. The next step will be to go to the school district and also seek their concurrence to participate. And once we complete that process, we then go to the State Department of Revenue, and it's a process called Certify the Base. We have to do that by the end of the year, and once that's certified, the TAD will go into effect on January 1 of next year. So those are kind of the last steps in this process that we're working our way through with you this evening. Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for him?
Where, okay, it's
Commissioner, your mic.
I guess my major question is, how far along will you be in 6 years? In other words, you're going to do the west of 95 and the east of 95. That's the whole program, right?
yes, sir.
So where would you be in 6 years is my question.
6 years, we would probably be about 60% completed, just based on the current projections.
And you're going to start on the west side?
West side, yes, sir.
Okay.
And there will be activity on both sides, but the west side's going to lead that
Right.
development.
Okay. And you're going to start clearing underbrush on the road pretty quick?
So it's visible, right?
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. That was all I had. I guess one more. The jobs you're talking about, let's see, 3261 new permanent jobs created. Do you have any idea what will those jobs entail? And what kind of jobs?
Throughout the whole TAD district?
James, can you get closer to the microphone?
Sorry. So throughout the entire TAD district, there'll be light industrial down around Haddock Road and St. Mary's Road, so you'll have some light industrial warehousing type jobs there. Within the sports complex itself, you'll have retail, hotel, tourism type jobs. So you're going to see different tiers, restaurant,
Right.
that kind of thing. So.
We have office too. So
Yeah, that's true. You'll have some office as well. So, yeah, a little bit of everything, kind of a mixed bag.
Okay.
Mr. Blakely and James, do you have any preliminary feel from the Camden County School Board as to how they feel about this.
You want to take it, or? Go ahead. Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Goodman, we did a presentation to them in a work session format a week ago, and we go back to them for their vote on December 5th. I think we're in a good place with them. We want to make sure that this is something that they can accommodate, and we don't, create extra stress on them from a residential standpoint. But I think right now they see the benefit of the growth, the splost, the loss, the e-splost, those numbers, more than they're concerned about the impact of the residential growth. So,
Yeah,
is that?
we had a very, I thought, positive meeting with the school board and a good discussion about the details, but we're hopeful they will also participate.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. One other question. You mentioned one of the financing mechanisms would be banks. Do you have any feel for local banks participating in this to a significant degree? If that's a pregnant question, I'll withdraw it, because I see you swallowing hard, James.
Am I on now? Sorry, I keep doing that. From our perspective, there's a possibility that the Joint Development Authority would consider assisting with bonding on this. And in that instance, a local bank, say Ameris or Southeastern, may be the one to buy that bond based on the pledge of this TAD revenue. We'll have to see. We know that they would be capable of doing that. I don't know beyond that in terms of, direct loans to the city of Kingsland. We haven't had that discussion.
Thank you, gentlemen.
How do you feel about how this will compete against the other TADs in the county? Kingsland's got another TAD with Sawyer, then St. Mary's has got another TAD, which will be right next to this on the east side.
I mean, honestly, it was interesting. At the school board meeting, one of the school board members asked me before the meeting, they said, can you give us a little bit of insight? Because to the board members, it seems like we're creating all these TADs and they're not doing anything. In reality, St. Mary's TAD #1, we just had our ribbon cutting on our first business at the former St. Mary's Airport, that we used that TAD revenue to build that new road. And an entranceway in between Point Peter and Douglas Road. We also got some assistance from the state, but so that's happening. It's not all we want to happen in St. Mary's TAD #1, but it's happening. St. Mary's TAD #2, you just saw they landed that massive housing development with Taylor Morrison at Exit 1, 1,300 homes and all the retail and associated things that'll go along with that. I think that's going to self-support. It'll support itself. St. Mary's TAD #3, they've got 2 developers who have signed on to build homes and commercial properties in that property behind the hospital, that Gilligan's Island area. So I think that'll be self-supportive. I think each of these are somewhat self-reliant thus far. It will be interesting to see the intersection of St. Mary's TAD #2 and Kingsland TAD #1, because they literally will butt up against each other. But as long as they generate enough revenue within themselves to pay for their infrastructure, then I think they'll be self-supporting.
Anybody got anything else? I will make one other comment on the St. Mary's TADs. We've participated at 95%. So, anybody got anything else? All right, if we don't have anything else, you got something?
I do like the fact the 3261 jobs. Now we've got to get the folks to fill those positions.
But that'll be over, the whole 11-year period before
Yeah.
we get to that number.
That's a good point.
Right, but it's a good start. Because we, over the last 20 years, we lost 4 industries and about 4,000 jobs, so that's pretty clear.
All right, anybody got anything else? All right, we'll close this work session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Very good.
welcome to tonight's Board of Commissioners meeting. Join us for the invocation given by Commissioner Brandt, and then join us for the pledge.
Please stand. Father God, we're so thankful for this day you have given us. Father, we thank you for every household that is represented here this evening. Father, we just ask for guidance and direction in the decisions that we make this evening, that they be for the benefit of all of Camden County. For this we pray in your most glorious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, Katie.
All commissioners are present.
We need to add an item to the agenda. This will be for the approval of purchase of work truck package. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Got a first and second? All in favor? Motion carries. Any other amendments? Seeing none, can I get an adoption of the agenda?
Chairman, make a motion to approve the agenda, the amended agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a first and second? All in favor? All right, we have an agenda. All right, if there's no changes to the minutes from the October 15th public hearing, regular meeting, and executive session minutes, can I get a motion to accept those?
Chairman, make a motion to approve as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We got a first and second to accept the minutes. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to our first presentation. It's a recognition of the employee of the quarter.
I'm here on behalf of the employee. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Amy Peoples. I'm here on behalf of the Employee Recognition Committee to present the award for the Employee of the Third Quarter for 2024. Each quarter, we request nominations through an online survey system for our Employee of the Quarter. We ask our employees to submit nominations for employees who display exceptional performance and who consistently go beyond their normal duties. The employee selected this quarter has worked for Camden County since 2013. He went to recruit school and became certified and has moved up through the ranks of our Camden County Fire Rescue. Now he leads and teaches the new recruits as they begin their careers as firefighters for Camden County. He was nominated by several of his peers for the Employee of the Quarter Award. Here is what some of his coworkers had to say. Captain Marr just completed his first recruit class since being promoted to fire training officer. All the recruits in the class passed. He stayed late and came in early to make sure all requirements were met. He continues to provide training and to make sure his employees meet the state requirements for training. He trains hard with the employees, and he wants to make sure they will return home to their families at the end of the shift. Another person said Captain Marr puts his heart and soul into making sure the recruits have everything they need to be successful, while also making sure the other firefighters keep up with their training. Captain Marr brings humor to every situation, and he keeps his coworkers' spirits up even when there's a serious situation arises. He is never too busy to help with anything that is asked. So we are very happy to announce that Captain James Marr is our Camden County Fire Rescue, was selected to be the Employee of the Third Quarter for 2024.
Let's go get our picture made.
Mustache really won the award.
All right, we're ready for our next presentation. This is recognition of Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette.
Timothy Best, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing this opportunity to present this to Lisa Boyette, Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette. A couple of months back, I asked Chief Smith, could he facilitate someone teaching the group of boys some basic CPR training? And he worked that out with Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette, and she took one of her Saturdays off to come and facilitate that training. And we are grateful for that, and we just wanted to acknowledge her. And a little bit about our organization. I am the director and founder of the Making a Difference Mentorship Program. Making a Difference Mentorship Program is designed to empower young boys in Camden County, Georgia, and surrounding counties ages 7 to 17. This program focuses on personal goals, community services, personal and professional development, and addresses issues such as gun violence, drug awareness, bullying, and internet danger, peer pressure, and gangs. So, young people have always been my heart. I've coached football, basketball for many years, and as a young man coming up, I've made bad choices that I regret, and my desire was to pour into young people in our community, because I don't look at these young boys as at-risk youth. I see an opportunity. And so I spend time with them, have other individuals working along with me, and I believe in the village concept. I believe it takes a whole community. And sometimes we don't get engaged until it knocks on our door, but I have a heart for the young boys. And again, I thank Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette for taking time out to come and provide that training for us. And this plaque says, Ms. Lisa, if you will come up. It says, we, the Making a Difference Mentor Organization, would like to thank Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette for her commitment to community engagement. The training you provided for our young boys and their families, we believe that it will have a lasting mark on them. It's people like Deputy Chief Lisa Boyette who make our community such a special place to live. November 19, 2024. I have some of the young boys with me here. They will enjoy it. One minute.
Fun to teach.
All right, maybe we can get a firefighter out of this group of young men that were just up here. All right, our next presentation, we're going to recognize Commissioner Jim Goodman for completing all his lifelong learning academy courses. So Seth, you're doing that?
I'll do it. Yeah, we want to congratulate Commissioner Jim Goodman for his achievement from the University of Georgia, Carl Vinson Institute of Government, the ACCG, the Association of the County Commissioners of Georgia. We hereby recognize Jim Goodman as a certified county commissioner, having completing all the prescribed core educational classes of the Lifelong Learning Academy on August 16, 2024. So we are extremely proud of Commissioner Goodman becoming a certified county commissioner in the state of Georgia.
Might as well. You gotta do it.
She was gonna bite my hand.
When you're through with lifelong learning, does that mean you're ready to die? It is, isn't it? You can do lifelong learning.
All right, this brings us to our first public comment section of the night. We'll limit it to 3 minutes and agenda items only. Are there any registered speakers?
No, sir.
All right, does anyone wish to speak before the board? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. At this time, we need to. Huh?
You got one.
Oh, come on up. I didn't see you.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
Good evening. DeFonzio Daniels, 74 Roadway, West Bluff. Right now. All right. All right, so this evening I wanted to come to you guys and pass on some of the information that's going on across the county. I'm still actively engaged in the community, and some of the biggest issues that we are facing out there definitely are mold issues. Obviously, we are here in the swamp, so we know those are going to be issues. And we understand that there's going to be issues across the county, but the problems is actually having facility managers and owners own up to some of those problems and have some kind of solutions and come to the table with those
Mr.
solutions.
Daniels, right now, we're only doing agenda items only.
I'm sorry. I thought you was asking about something else. My bad. I'll come back later.
Okay. All right, anybody wants to speak on agenda items? All right, seeing none, at this time, we need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Got a first and second to convene a public hearing. All in favor? All right, Joey, you're up.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, I'm requesting approval for the 2025 alcohol license renewals. Now, each applicant has provided the required information for these renewals of next year. I would like to note that 2 applicants failed to meet the renewal deadline, submission for the deadline, which is highlighted on the list that I provided you. I would also like to note that this deadline was extended by 2 weeks for Hurricane Helene. So therefore, staff would recommend approval on these licenses.
Okay, can we get a motion on this item? Oh, no. Anybody wish to speak in favor of these? I was skipping ahead to the regular meeting. Anybody wish to speak in opposition of these alcohol licenses? All right. Anybody got any questions for Joey? All right, this time we need a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
The first and second. All in favor? Okay, we're back in the regular meeting. All right, now we can do it, Joey.
Thank you, Chairman. Requesting approval for the 2025 alcohol license renewals. So staff will recommend approval on these.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Recommend approval of alcohol license as presented.
Second.
All right, we got a first and second to approve the alcohol licenses. That's minus the two that didn't,
That is correct, yes, sir.
okay. Any discussion?
Do you think that these two are gonna come back?
Turn your,
Do you think, especially Cedar Lodge, do you think they're gonna come back and,
We have reached out to and tried to speak with anyone that represents either one of those businesses, and we have
okay,
no success on that. They will have the chance to reapply next year, though. But as of January the 1st, they will no longer be able to sell alcohol.
okay, who enforces that?
Code enforcement as well as the sheriff's department.
This is an annual process,
It is, yes, sir.
so if you don't make it in by the deadline, then you have to wait till the next.
It'll go back to the formal process as it begins.
Okay, thank you.
They don't have to wait a year, they just
No,
gotta,
no, 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 they can reapply.
gotta go through and
Yes.
apply.
I'll just have to advertise, as state law.
All right, we got a first and second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, Kelsey, you're up.
Good evening, Commissioners. This agenda item is for your consideration to award the multi-use sports complex design and engineering services to Thomas & Hutton. Purchasing issued an RFP and received 2 proposals. Of the 2, Thomas & Hutton was the least expensive and most responsible bidder. Thomas & Hutton's proposal came in at $171,100, and that is the not to exceed price. Staff recommends approval to award the multi-use sports complex design and engineering services to Thomas & Hutton. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Got a first and second to approve the bid award for the multi-use sports complex design and engineering. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest that we table this until after the first of the year, when we will have a change up here on the dais, because I still believe that we don't need to destroy the miniature golf course for the sake of a little bit of additional parking and storage of equipment. And it just makes sense to reconsider this at a later date, and to also consider at that time to rebid it. So I make a motion to table this until after the first of the year, when there will be new faces on this board.
Well, there's already a motion on the floor, but you can, there's a different term for it that you can
Substitute motion?
substitute the motion. I can't remember the name of the term.
Intervening motion?
Intervening motion, yes. All right, we got an intervening motion. Anybody want to second that?
The first motion would need to be addressed first.
The first one had, okay. Well, we got a first and second to approve the design. Any more discussion? All in favor? Those opposed?
Goodman?
All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, I do wish to inform you that I have had an opportunity to review the contract that has been presented by Ms. Kelly to my office, and I have suggested one change with regard to some liability procedures on that, so there will be an amendment coming on that. But the rest of the contract was, I had no issue with.
Thank you. All right. Item number 3.
Good evening, Mr.
Spears?
Chairman, Commissioners. I have a couple things before you this evening. Real quickly, though, I want to say thank you to Amy Peoples, my HR generalist, who did the Employee of the Quarter presentation. But I essentially want to point out that we also had our Employee Appreciation Thanksgiving lunch today, and it was a resounding success. We had over 200 of our employees show up for the event, so it was a fantastic time. I want to thank Commissioner Brandt for participating as well. So Amy's just done an incredible job for the morale of our folks, so I want to acknowledge her for that. The first thing I have for you guys here this evening just stinks having to wear glasses all the time now. It's just how quickly that happens. Yes, sir. So to consider the approval of a bid award to Palmer & Kay for Camden County's employee health benefits brokerage. Camden County Human Resources and Employee Benefits, completes an RFP process periodically to make sure that we're getting the best service at the best value. So purchasing put out an RFP 25-15-5502 on September 12th, and we received 10 responses to the bid. And I want to tell you, that's an incredible amount for something like that, to get 10 responses back. We chose 3 brokers as finalists and had them come in to present to us in person, and staff recommends that we award Palmer & Kay for our brokerage services. And you can see the bid tabulation is the sheet behind that in your packet. Palmer & Kay was willing to go like our current broker, USI, where there won't be an additional charge for the brokerage services. Their fee is out of the, I can't think of the word it is, where it's the money they make out of the policies being sold. There's a name for that. I can't think. Commission, that's what I was looking for. Yes, sir. I'm standing here looking at a commission, and I couldn't remember that word. Sorry about that. So with that, I'd ask that you approve the bid award to Palmer & Kay.
All right, can we get a motion on this item?
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Got a first and a second to approve the employee benefits package. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Motion carries.
All right, sir, the next one I have for you is to ask that the board approve the ACCG proposal for first responder PTSD coverage as required by House Bill 451. A little bit of history there. On May 1st of this year, Governor Kemp signed House Bill 451 into law, and 451 requires that public entities that have first responders that work for them, they must maintain insurance coverage for those first responders if they're diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of a traumatic event that happened while working for that entity. That's an important distinction. House Bill 451 has 2 distinct components. It requires a lump sum payment to someone that's diagnosed with PTSD, and that lump sum is mandated in the amount of $3,000. And then it also provides a long-term disability package for them that could pay them up to $5,000 a month based on what their income is. So this, again, I want to point out, this is a state-mandated plan, and it's we don't have a whole lot of choice in that matter, for sure, but I'm happy that this has come to bear because I think these ladies and gentlemen definitely deserve this. It's for the 245 individuals that comprise our fire rescue department, our sheriff's office, and our 911 operators. So the proposal from ACCG is behind the agenda item in your packets.
All right, thank you.
Oh, and I do want to make the distinction too, Commissioner Turner and I were speaking, it's $35,000 is the charge, but that is an annual charge for everybody. So it's $10,000 for the lump sum payment coverage and $24,000 for the disability limit amount. But that is one price that you pay per year for everyone. Each year we will do a census of our employee base, and it would be, corrected. If we have more first responders next year, it would be a little bit more. If we have less first responders next year, it would be a little bit less. But this takes effect January 1st.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a first and a second to approve the first responders benefit coverage. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, next item.
Thank you, sir. Last item I have for you this evening is to ask that the board approve the professional services agreement for clinic services with Angelito Lacanilau, MD. As you know, Camden County owns and operates the Main Point Health and Wellness Clinic. This is an employee clinic for employees of the county and of the cities of St. Mary's and Kingsland and the PSA and their dependents. And for the last almost 15 years, Dr. Earl Martin has been our medical director, and he will be ending his tenure with the county as of December 31st of this year. Put us in a spot where we needed to find a new MD that could work as the medical director. The medical director of the clinic is responsible for, the clinic operates under his license, and then he audits a certain number of employee files, employee records, medical records throughout the month. And there's no additional charge with this. He's going to take over for exactly what we were paying Dr. Martin, which is $2,000 a month, and then $125 an hour for the time that he's actually there. So it comes out to under $60,000 a year is what the price is, but it's a continuation of what we're already paying. It's no additional service. So with that, I'd ask that you approve this. I also want to put out there that Dr. Lacanilau has been a family medicine physician in St. Mary's for over 30 years, and he is a board-certified internal medicine practitioner.
All right, thank you. All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
We got a first and a second to approve the medical service providers. Any discussion?
One question.
Yes, sir.
The 125, how much time does he actually spend there? I
About
mean,
6 hours a week is what the doctor normally does. So the clinic is open on Fridays until noon, and the MD is there on Fridays. And then if we need his assistance for some type of protocol or something during the week, he'll help us with that. So it averages about 6 hours a week for him at the $125 an hour.
All right, we got a first and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your help.
Thank you. All right, Julie, you're next up.
I'm requesting approval of a grant award through GEMA's State Homeland Security Program for equipment at the Emergency Operations Center in the amount of $35,600. These funds are available to counties to prevent terrorism and other catastrophic events. Funds will be used to purchase and install Joint Information Center equipment required for the effective incident management, particularly during activations or emergency response and recovery operations. No matching funds were required for this project. At this time, I would like approval to accept the grant award as presented.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
motion to approve.
Second.
Got a first and second to approve the award, and I assume you got us a big check.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right.
I'm requesting that the board approve a cybersecurity planning grant from the Georgia Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $131,250. Funds will be used to hire a consultant to create a cybersecurity plan. The consultant will provide the following services: develop governance frameworks, operational models, security documentation, strategic roadmaps, and custom artifacts to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the county's information security program. A 10% match is required. The match will come from the grant matching fund line item. At this time, I would like approval to accept the grant award as presented.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
The first and second to approve this hazard mitigation grant program.
Yep.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
I'm requesting to submit a grant application in the amount of $15,154 for the Emergency Management Performance Grant to the Georgia Emergency Management Agency. The purpose of this grant is to provide opportunities to enhance local emergency management agency by providing funds for administration, preparedness activities, exercise, and training. Funds will be used to cover a portion of the EMA director's salary. A 50% match is required. This match will come from the EMA's salary.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
First and second. Any discussion? This is something we do every year, so. All right, all in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, I've got the checks.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna get a picture taken. on to item number 9.
Yes,
Go ahead, Nancy.
Nancy Gonzalez, Chief Financial Officer, and this agenda item for your approval is to pay off the enterprise capital leases for the Sheriff's Office vehicles for what we refer to as Round 1 and Round 2. The total payoff is $315,592.03, and the funding sources for that are SPLOST 8 and ARPA Fund. And just the history on that is the sheriff had entered into a lease agreement with Enterprise in June of 2020, and it was later amended in November of 2020 for the lease of 15 law enforcement vehicles with a lease term of 5 years. And that was all through the SPLOST Fund. And then in 23-24, 14 additional law enforcement vehicles were purchased through the Enterprise trust using ARPA funds under the same master lease agreement. One of the vehicles purchased with that group was totaled prior to it being billed by Enterprise. So the claim settlement on that was paid for through the general fund. And that particular vehicle, even though we originally purchased 14, you'll see only 13 are listed there. So that vehicle, of course, is not included in the payoff document. And the Enterprise holds title on vehicles until the termination period, whether or not it's a leased vehicle or a purchased vehicle. And they also continue a charge for a monthly management fee until the end of the term. So the monthly payment on the leased vehicles from what we say is Round 1 SPLOST includes principal, interest, and the management fee, and that would have continued or will continue for the next 13 to 19 months until the end of the lease term. And the monthly payment on the purchased vehicles includes a management fee and also aftermarket equipment that was added after the initial purchase payment was made, and that will continue for the next 4 plus or minus years. And that was funded through ARPA. So both ARPA and SPLOST are fully funded for these, and it's also included in the budget, actually the extended amount. So by paying this off early, SPLOST fund will save $23,397.14, and the ARPA fund will save $23,897.07. And the titles will be transferred to the county after we do make the payment. So we are requesting approval for that payoff.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. This is to pay off the capital leases on the sheriff's office vehicles.
For Round 1 and 2.
Round 1 and 2 only, not Round 3.
Correct.
All right, any discussion?
Is it the 315,592? Is that the number?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got one question. Do we have to buy those 6 that are over 100,000 miles on them? Is a lump deal?
Yes. The
so you-
mileage is the mileage, and the payoff is based on the remaining term and also the mileage. We could turn it back into them, but I would have to investigate further what that would be the implication financially.
Would there be penalties if you turn them back in?
Just off the top of my head, I don't know that. I would have to investigate that further.
Okay.
All right, right now, we got any more discussion? I will say, I hope we never enter into a contract like this again. All right, everybody in favor of this, raise your hand. Those opposed? Well, it carries, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Ready?
Yep. All right. Good evening. I'm here to request approval of the 2023-24 Joint Program for Public Information report and approve Camden County's continuation in the community rating system. It is a requirement that we present this annually for your approval.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a first and second. Any discussion on the CRS program? All right, all in favor? Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11. James, you're up.
Thank you. So I'm here tonight on behalf of the city of Kingsland to talk to you about their Kingsland Tax Allocation District Number 1. This was a tax allocation district they established back in 2012. At the time, they did not ask for the county's concurrence nor the school board's concurrence because they did not have a fully baked project, but now they do. And they'd like to go ahead and ask for the city and the county, the county and the county school board to participate. They're also amending the boundaries. They've carved out some areas on the west side of I-95 where now Coastal Pines Technical College exists, and that no longer needs to be included in the tax allocation district. And they've added some areas on the east side of 95 along Haddock Road down to St. Mary's Road that'll form a commercial mixed-use light industrial area to that TAD. The TAD will happen over 11 years. Over that 11 years, it's estimated that you will see about a total of $822 million in development in that TAD. Currently, the 8 parcels that make up that TAD are on the tax rolls for about, I want to say 1.6 is what the cumulative value of all of those parcels represent. So it's a very significant increase in the value of the TAD, not just for the city of Kingsland, but for Camden County as a whole. So we would ask for your concurrence with that, and this is what we presented in work session this evening.
Thank you, James. All right, I'll make a motion that we participate this at 95% level.
Second.
Got a first and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, James. All right, this brings us to item number 12. Who's doing that?
I can do it.
Okay.
Okay, since I'm on the health board. Dr. Sanjay Patel has.
Jim, turn your microphone on.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Dr. Sanjay Patel has agreed graciously to continue his work as the director of the Camden, medical director of the Camden County Board of Health, and I would like to make a motion that we reappoint Dr. Sanjay Patel to this post.
Second.
All right, got a first and second to reappoint Dr. Patel. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, item number 13. Katie, is that you?
Got lost there for a minute. Yes, I have provided you all with the 2025 holiday calendar as well as the regular meeting calendar. And if you've had time to review that, we were asking for your approval tonight. And it does reflect one meeting for the month of July and one meeting for the month of December, as traditionally we've done in the past. All the holidays are the same. I would also like to say I did provide the calendar to the 2 new commissioner-elects as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion. Go ahead.
Excuse me, make a motion to approve the calendar as presented by the clerk.
I'll
Second.
second. Okay. We got first and second. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to item number 14, the one that we added.
Good evening, Commissioners. This in front of you is an approval to purchase a 2024 Chevy work truck package for the Department of Public Works from Daniel Chevrolet of Swainsboro, Georgia. No, this isn't another 6-truck package. This is a revision of the original approval we sought from you guys on October 15th. Just to give you a quick little history, we went to 3 different dealerships, got quotes for trucks that they had on their lot. We made sure that they all towed up apples to apples. Then we took it to you guys for approval. Well, during that time, we had Helene come through, changed the market. They sold off a lot of trucks that they had due to emergency needs from other communities and other cities. So they no longer had the trucks that they quoted on the lot. So after our approval and we went back to them with a PO in hand, they did not have the trucks that we sought originally. So we went back to them. They both Daniels, excuse me, and Stingray came back with quoted trucks that they could get on their lot. They weren't truly apples to apples, but it was pretty close. The difference in price is roughly $870, with Daniels Chevrolet being a little higher. But the difference is that 4 of the 6 trucks would have a larger cab. So instead of an extended cab, they would have a crew cab, or instead of a single cab on the service truck, it has an extended cab. So the $870 in value is definitely there in the truck package from Daniels Chevrolet, which they have all 6 trucks on their lot ready to go.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve the package from Daniel Chevrolet.
Second. First and second, any discussion on the trucks? All in favor? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. All right, this brings us to reports, calendar. You got anything, Kate?
There's no changes at this time.
County administrator comments?
I'm going to turn it over to Jackie real quick. We need to go back to the soccer complex, the multi-use complex, and have a revote there.
That is correct, Commissioners, and I do apologize specifically to Commissioner Goodman. You had made the motion, and that motion does need to be addressed first before the prior motion. It does supersede, so I did want to address that.
Okay, Mr. Goodman had a motion to table it. Do we have a second on that? We don't have a second on it, so that fails. So we'll go back to the original motion to approve the contract for the engineering work. All in favor? Those opposed?
Goodman.
Okay. All right. Now, I would like to say that the Evergreen Missionary Baptist Church hosted, I can't think of the exact what it was, but they hosted, do you know what it is, SNAP?
Yes, sir. It was a SNAP benefit program from Hurricane Helene, and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, there was several attendees, and actually even a family relative of mine actually even assisted some remotely from another county, but kind of impressive. Very thankful to Dr. Washington for him allowing us to use that facility alongside DFACS and GMA and FEMA. So it was a well-run event. I think a lot of people got a lot of benefits from that. I don't have the exact statistics. I don't know if Chuck's still here, if he's able to provide those, but it was a really wonderful event, and got a lot of good praise from a lot of people.
I heard it was over 4,000, so.
Yes, sir. The only other comment that I had was the Resiliency Operations Center. We were moving planning and development as well as GIS and floodplain management, EMA. Part of the EMA's offices over to that facility. It'll be in full operation December 16th. So for those of you contractors, of course, we'll have notices going out, but and signage as well. But the new location for planning and development will be at the old Georgia Power Complex, which is at 135 North Gross Road, I believe. So right there in Kingsland, just not even probably 200-300 yards away from the current building.
Yep.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, this brings us to our final public comments of the night. We'll limit it to 3 minutes.
I do have someone registered.
Okay.
Mr. Manning, Ricky Manning.
Rick Manning from Bullhead Bluff. I got a couple of items that need to get addressed. First off is, I don't know what's going on with the route going back into to the dump. I have lived here all my cotton picking life and have never seen what's going on now. Somebody needs to start enforcing this, securing the loads. It's 2 days after the state went and picked up that place, it looked like the dump beside the road out there again. They just did that last week. I had to rescue a young lady with a little baby in her vehicle that ran over a piece of metal, and there's metal still all out in that road. I don't know what's going on. Y'all need to come up with something. I mean, I can come up with something, but I'm not y'all. The priority of this whole board and the administrator and everybody else is the safety and well-being of this county and the people in it. And we are gonna have to do something. If it takes, I don't know what it's gonna take, but y'all can figure it out. There are laws against unsecured loads going up and down that highway. It's ridiculous. Never seen it like that. Y'all ride out there if you want to and look at it. It just got cleaned the end of last week, and it is terrible, terrible. Anyways, now we'll go on and move on to something else. We got a meeting tomorrow, 6 o'clock, up here in this chamber, and I suggest y'all pay close attention to it, because this rezoning after the fact is going to get some people in trouble. Y'all trying to pass a buck here, and it's not going to work, because I'm not going to shut up about it. You haven't fixed the noise problem, and that's a county code to begin with, and then here you are already trying to zone something that you know is already illegal. I'm all for that gun range. I just started it 3 years ago. You wouldn't fix the noise problem because of who I am. We all know that. As you can back up to these little laws if you want to, but they're not going to protect you. I mean, you can read them all day long. I can read them to you. Whenever practical, the minimum standards established by the zoning ordinance should be met in the development of public property as well as private. Zoning is supposed to guide community development in accordance with a comprehensive plan, or at least to guarantee certain amenities to property owners. Neither of these objectives can be attained in the development of public property is substandard or subverts codes and ordinance that private developers must follow. Yes, in Georgia, a local government can generally be exempt from its own zoning ordinance when acting in a governmental capacity, meaning when performing core public functions, but not when acting in proprietary capacity. This range has never been an essential public service or park, and therefore has been ran illegally for years. I'm not going to keep reading all this. I'll address the rest of it in the board, and I will address it with the investigators that's already on this job. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Daniels, did you want to come up and speak?
I'm gonna get in trouble.
No.
How y'all doing? All right, so back to what I was going on earlier about was basically trying to hold these people accountable, these managers and owners accountable for some of these issues that we're facing across this county. We have babies, we have family, low-income facilities. It's not only just the low-income areas. This is all across the county that we have in these mold issues. And I think that it is vital that we engage and actually get out there and see what's actually going on. A lot of our leadership cannot just come from behind and get information from someone else. We have to actually go out and engage and see what's actually going on. And a lot of these people are facing hardships, or either trying to weigh their options of moving out, or trying to find some kind of financial support to move themselves out because of their health situations. So we also have that the respiratory issues across the county that I think that we as a whole need to address. This is not just an isolated incident. These are incidents where people are going to the hospitals and racking up more medical bills and facing more hardships that we're going to be paying for out of pocket as taxpayers. So I recommend that we do some kind of overhaul and get some other people engaged in some of these issues that we are facing out here, because it's never going to go away. It's been swept under the rug entirely too long, and we have not, as leaders, actively being involved in addressing some of these people's issues that they're they're pouring their hearts out to you. And a lot of these people, they come into some of the county, I should say the city's meetings, and they're still not being heard. So this is one of the issues that I actually wanted to bring out today. There's a lot of more issues, but I'm just talking about this one for right now. Is there anything that we can do as a county to launch some kind of report and get some kind of statistics as to what's going on across this county? That's all I got.
This is mainly about rental properties, apartments, and
It's the areas in which I began, but this is more than just rental properties. Obviously, the ones that we know that we can hold people accountable on will be the rental properties, and obviously we know how the federal works with HUD and all that other things like that. So But yes, this is more than just the rental properties. It's widespread. And I think one of the biggest things that we can do is actually hold some of these contractors accountable in the way they structure and build some of these places. We do understand that this is a swamp. But we have to be able to mitigate some of these problems by addressing some of these contractors and how they build some of these structures.
I think one place he's talking about is over by Agape Church.
Agape Church is one, Cumberland Oaks, Satilla Shores, Pines. But I've also recently, I'm receiving more and more emails and text messages about other facilities that I had no idea about. So they're out there.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak before the board? Come on up, Mr. Bauer.
Bauer, Harriet's Bluff. I just got a few things on my list here. What's been done out at Browntown to fix that walkway out there? Probably nothing. Saw 2 new tractors go down the road the other day, cutting grass. And what I can't understand is why those tractors that PSA has, that the county bought, are sitting out there rusting away. And the drainage on Harriet's Bluff Road has been brought up several times. I know you all fixed that because you put a sign out there that says flood zone. That took care of the problem, evidently. But anyhow, on the west side of that concrete bridge, that drainage comes down there and dumps right into that slough. On the east side, it backs up and runs across the road on the east side of the bridge. Now, I don't understand where all this is coming from, but somebody's BSing somebody. Telling you right now, that property belongs to the county. We ought to be able to go out there and dig the damn thing out and make the drainage right. But for some reason, somebody's got their head stuck where the sun don't shine. And what was the cost of these metal detectors out here? Anybody know? Anybody want to say anything about it? Evidently not. Just sit up there and look like you do all the time. And the acreage that was supposedly bought for a sheriff's compound and a new jail and new office, what happened to that? Is it up in the air? Is it on paper? Are you doing anything about it? Evidently not. But you know, Mr. Casey, you smile real nice when you're just thinking about BS. That's why I put them earplugs up there. If you'll take those earplugs and roll them between your thumb and your forefinger and stick them in your ear, that'll stop all this BS from going right on straight on through, so you'll catch some of it. Thank you.
All right, anybody else?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Dawn Gray, St. Mary's. First of all, I want to congratulate all of the commissioners tonight for no longer voting to illegally use SPLOST funds for the multi-use complex or for any item that's not contained on the SPLOST state referendum for which we, the constituents of yours, voted for. I would ask, and that you're using the ARPA funds, I would ask that as you move forward with consideration with regards to the memorandum of understanding or agreement that you have with the PSA, recognizing that currently the PSA is engaged with a contract with the soccer club, that before you make a decision on that memorandum of understanding, that you pressure the PSA to encourage them that they only engage in contracts with organizations that are legally operating. 2 point, under the gratuities clause of the Georgia State Constitution, the only entity that can use government property is one that has been identified as a charitable organization. As I've been saying for months now, the Camden Soccer Club lost that designation with the federal government in 2010. That's not been rectified. Additionally, there's been no sales tax revenue that's been remitted to the state of Georgia for monies that have been received on our county property. Additionally, There's a concession stand that's being run there without a certificate from the Department of Public Health. So as you look forward to whether or not you're going to engage in that memorandum of understanding with the PSA, I'd encourage you to have conversations with the PSA board and director. And finally, I just want to tell you that I'm a little bit disappointed that we took a motion, Mr. Goodman's motion was overlooked, and then following the vote on the motion, information was received by legal counsel for the county letting you know that there's going to be an amendment to the contract, and yet you guys came back and voted again for a contract that you were previously told was going to be altered. So again, I do congratulate you on moving forward and using ARPA funds rather than using the SPLOST state funds. And it would be nice if we could get, as a community, an update on where we are with regards to the things that we voted on. The St. Mary's Pool enhancement, the Blue Bridge, the digitization of the court records, and so forth. So if we could have an update, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else wish to speak for the board? All right, seeing none, now we need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate, litigation, and personnel.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll be back. Oh, there he is.
You're waiting on me?
Yes, as always.
I'm glad to.
All right, now we need a motion to adjourn the executive session and reconvene the regular meeting.
Make a motion, we adjourn the executive session, reconvene the regular meeting.
Second.
Got first and second. All in favor? All right, we're back in the regular meeting. Any actions from the executive session? No, we didn't do anything to vote on, so this brings us to adjournment. Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're adjourned.